Hello and welcome to the Door to Door YouTube channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about garage door sizes. So a lot of people ask me, what's a standard size, or when I'm working with builders, they'll say, what's a standard size that I can build out the garage for my customer so they won't have to spend a lot of money getting something custom, or they can't just get something off the shelf. I would say a standard size garage door is your typical 8x7. Most doors you see, single car doors, are going to be 8 foot wide. So we measure garage doors, you go width first and then height. So it's 8 foot wide and then 7 foot tall. That's gonna be your most standard. And then from there you see some variations. They'll do some variations in height. So 7 foot tall is the standard, but you also see in 3-inch increments where you can usually do the heights by mixing and matching different sections. So you'll see 6'6", 6'3", 6'9", or like I said, 7 foot's your standard. And then from there, after in general 8x7, I would say 9x7 would be your next most common size, especially in the single doors, obviously, which is going to be 9 feet wide. A little bit wider than the 8, a little bit more popular, especially with cars getting a little bit bigger. You don't have to worry about your side mirrors as much. You got a little bit more room to get the car in there. So 9x7 is, I would say, slowly replacing 8x7 as the most popular if you have the room. Because then it comes down to room. If you have multiple doors, how many can you fit in the garage and still have enough room in between the doors for tracks, hardware, and everything that on the side that we need to install for the door to operate properly. After 9x7, most popular size, you then would get into your double door, your 16 foot wide door. So that's going to be your 2-car wide single garage door, but wide enough for 2 cars. 16 feet wide is the most popular by a 7 foot tall. And then from there, you might see some different heights. So 8x7 being the standard, 9x7 getting more popular. And also we're starting to see a lot of 9x8. So 9 feet wide, 8 feet tall. That'd be great if you have a bigger work truck with a ladder rack that you want to be able to get in the garage. Usually you need an 8 foot tall door for that to fit. So then you'll see that probably a little more popular. You'll see 9x8 as well as the 16x8 for the double door. After the 16 footer, I'm actually doing a lot of 18 foot wide doors. So just like how the 9 footer is starting to kind of maybe, I don't know about yet, but starting to replace the 8x a little bit, especially in the newer builds. 18 foot is getting more and more popular just because a little bit more room, a little bit wider. A lot of people do find it difficult to fit 2 cars side by side in only a 16 foot wide door, where if you got an extra foot on each side in the 18, it's going to be a little bit easier. Going to make it a little bit easier. Going to be able to get in and out more, depending on how wide the garage is once you get in through the opening, if you do plan on parking 2 cars in there. And then you start getting to some odd sizes. So like I said, 8 foot wide is a standard width. You usually don't see less than 8 foot because then you're going to have difficulty parking a car in there. You do see a little bit like 7'6" or 7 if the builders did something funky just because maybe the garage was an afterthought and they just didn't frame it out to a standard size. They just went with what they had to work with. So below 8 foot, you're going to have some trouble as far as styles, what's available. When you go look at doors either online or when you're driving around, you're going to see an 8 foot wide door. So when they have to shrink it down even more, you'll lose a panel. As far as like a raised panel being 4 panels across, typically, below 8 foot, they might drop it down to a 3 panel. Some of the long panel options won't even be offered. A lot of manufacturers, as far as not doing doors less than 8 feet, won't put any glass in something smaller than 8 feet. So if you're looking to put a row of windows in the door, you might not be able to do that, depending on what size and what you end up with. And then going the other way, anything above 8 feet, they consider standard sizes, the 1 foot mark. So 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot. I don't think I've ever seen an 11, but 12 foot, 14, some 15, and then your standard, which is going to be 16 in your double door. And then they'll do variations on that, but it ends up getting a little bit more expensive because they're going to take, if you have an 8'6" wide door, usually what they'll do is they'll take a 9 foot wide door and then, lop off 3 inches on each side and get you the 8'6". So you're paying for a bigger door that then has to be cut down even smaller to fit the odd sized opening. But usually within 2-inch increments, they'll make those for you. But like I said, it's a little bit more money, and then you used to start getting into some issues of what's it actually going to look like if I'm taking a 14-foot wide door, but then I need to bring it down to 13.6. How's the stampings going to work out? What's it going to look like? Is it going to look like the door I wanted? Because a lot of people will see that. If I say this is the door I want, it looks great in a 9x7, but I have an odd size, and then we get a drawing made for it, and then all of a sudden they don't like it as much because it's got weird spacing, or just the way they decided to make it with the panels and the windows just doesn't look quite right like they wanted it to look. So that's something to think about. As far as door heights go, the doors come in 3-inch increments, usually as far as height goes, so different heights aren't really a problem, depending on how the house was built, floor, or anything like that. Usually see them in 3-inch increments, so they do 6 foot. I don't see that too often, but 6 foot, 6'3" is a little bit more common. 6'6" is very popular, especially in the northern New Jersey area where we are. A lot of older homes will have a 6'6" tall door, 6'9", and then your 7 foot, which is standard. And any new construction build you'll see anymore most likely will have a 7 foot tall door, if not an 8 foot tall door. The main reason I go over all this is if you're working with a builder, thinking about changing your garage up a little bit, maybe try to add more doors, or take out and just have one big door. That way you have a good idea of what a common size is. That way when working with your contractor, you're already aware of kind of where you want to be as far as size goes. So when it comes time to pick out a door, you can pick a door that you want. You can pick out a design, and you know what it's going to look like. You'll know it'll be available, and it's it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to have it custom made to a weird size that that's just not very common. So therefore, they end up charging a little bit more to make that custom. So feel free to comment below. Do you have an odd size door? I'd love to hear or see a picture of any weird odd sizes that you may have had or may have had to make work. Or if you're thinking about changing up your garage a little bit, maybe making it a little bit bigger, or taking a double door and bringing it down into 2 single doors. It's something we can definitely help you out with, and we'd love to hear from you. This is Alan with Door to Door, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.